What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. It is Throwback Thursday. Y'all know it's one of my favorite days of the week to create content. And in light of the ruling on affirmative action, I wanted to focus this Throwback Thursday on HBCUs. So I'm going to be doing a different world, drumline, you know, just shows that really highlight Black excellence, right? Like Martha's Vineyard, Black excellence. Um, but in all seriousness, looking back on my college journey, I really wish that I would have gone to an HBCU for longer. I did go to one for a very short time, but with older generations, I feel like they were indoctrinated to believe in respectability politics, or that predominantly white institutions were better schools. I feel like a lot of people actually still feel that way, and there are pros and cons to both, but the community that I and the love that I received at an HBCU was unmatched, hands down. It was one of the best experiences of my life. So, with that being said, I want to talk about A Different World, which was created as a spinoff to The Cosby Show, and it aired for 6 seasons on NBC from September 24th, 1987 to July 9th, 1993. So the series originally centered around Denise Huxtable, that was played by Lisa Bonet, in the life of the students at Hillman College, which was a fictitious historically Black college in Virginia, right? And the first season, and Marissa Tomei was on that season. She left after the first season. A lot of people said, it was an okay show, but it lacked that sauce, that flavor. You know what I mean? And so they brought in Debbie Allen, and Debbie Allen came and changed the game. Okay. So after Lisa Bonet left, they focused on Whitley Gilbert Wayne, who was played by, Jasmine Guy, and math whiz DeWayne Cleophas Wayne, played by Kadeem Hardison. And just from Aretha Franklin singing the intro to, Debbie Allen basing the show on her own experiences coming from Howard University. She and Felicia Rashad both graduated from Howard. I loved it. It was one of my favorite shows growing up. They had all kind of features on there. Whoopi Goldberg was a professor. Lena Horne was the acting teacher. And they really tackled real life issues, and Debbie Allen, they talked behind the scenes about how they had, all kind of constraints, like they couldn't show a condom on the TV, but they could allude to it, through Whitney talking about it in a purse. And they tackled HIV and AIDS, and Letitia Campbell's character, she shared with everybody her diagnosis. And that was really radical for that time, that early 90s time. They were talking about racism with Dean Cain, who he didn't have to reach that far for his character. Okay, if y'all ever saw anything that he posted on the Twitters, okay. But yeah, I feel like after that first season, I, really, I really loved the show. I mean, the first season was great too. Lisa Bonet left because she was pregnant. She was married to Lenny Kravitz at that time. She was pregnant with Zoe. And Bill Cosby was adamant about not showing a pregnant college student. Debbie Allen wanted her to stay. She also wanted Marissa Tomei to stay as well. But, for whatever reason, that didn't happen. But the show, I definitely loved Whitley Gilbert. She reminded me of, like a Hillary Banks type of, bougie. She was that Southern belle. And Jasmine Guy said that her real life persona, of course, is completely opposite of Whitley, but Whitley was hilarious. And, she fell in love with DeWayne Wayne. And I remember when they had their moms on, like Patti LaBelle was, DeWayne's mom. And uh, I had to look up who was Whitney's. Diane Carroll, of course. Okay. And so then that was like the first season. And then the spinoff seasons, of course, introduced a new generation of, college students. So Jasmine Guy stayed on as the resident director of the dorm. And then, DeWayne Wayne became a math professor. But it introduced us to Jada Pinkett, right? Bumper Robinson, who played her boyfriend Dorian Haywood in season 6. Huge crush on him. He's gorgeous. But yeah, they just, they kept it going. And the guest stars, I mean, they had Vanessa Bell Calloway on there. They had En Vogue on there. They had Halle Berry, who was Ron's girlfriend. And Ron, of course, was, his roommate. They showed them pledging a fraternity online together. But I really loved, every aspect of this show, because it really showed the community and camaraderie that you can get from an HBCU. I love Don Lewis's character, Jaleesa, who was an older student. After she got divorced, she went back to school. I think in her late 20s, she was like 28 or something like that. And, then they had Loretta Devine, who was an administrator as well. Cree Summer played Freddie. Winifred Brooks, who eventually went on to law school and got her law degree. We have Glenn Turman, who was actually married to Aretha Franklin. See, I didn't know that until I did some research. But Karen Molina White, who was the fast-talking, friend Charmaine on the Cosby Show, and then she got a recurring role on A Different World. I absolutely loved this show. And Charlene Brown, Kimberly Reese, who went to medical school. They said after, A Different World aired on NBC for these 6 seasons, the enrollments at HBCU skyrocketed. And a lot of people, they said, still, come up to, Jasmine and Kadeem was saying that people still come up to them to this day and said, I watched you as a kid and you're the reason why I went to college. Or Debbie Allen said the same thing, I saw A Different World and it changed my life. It changed my perspective on college. And I'm one of those people. It wasn't the reason why I went to college, but I do remember being so happy, to see that representation. And even, with Jada Pinkett and, her friends, that new generation, that came in after Jasmine and Kadeem and Cree, Freddie and Kim, their class graduated and they went on to graduate school, medical school, law school, or they stayed at Hillman, as professional staff. But I mean, I loved it. Like Sinbad, he was on there as a basketball coach. It was so cool to see, so many professional Black people thriving. And, none of them were in like the Blaxploitation, stereotypical roles that we see in media. None of the portrayals were negative. But they were real. Like they dealt with real issues like domestic violence. They dealt with, pregnancy scares. They dealt with, so many things that college students go through. And I would love to, have something like that for kids today. I feel like we don't see enough of those representations on screen. So that was my Throwback Thursday. Stroll down memory lane because, today, unfortunately, the Supreme Court ruled back affirmative action. Clarence Thomas, he was an affirmative action hire at Yale University. For him to, pull up the ladder after him or burn it is disheartening. But we have, Ketanji Brown Jackson on there, whatever. And if you guys get a chance, read her dissent. It's really good. Let me know your comments and, your thoughts in the comments section. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And I will talk to you later. Take care, Aces. Bye.